You're my new master. My name is Spots. I'm at your service. I'll be protecting your welfare and safety on an ongoing basis. In other words, I'm your dog.
Welcome to the Kindness Chronicles, where once again we hope to inject the world with the dose of the Minnesota kindness that it desperately needs. Maybe not the Minnesota kindness we've been experiencing the last couple of weeks, but we're not going to talk about that.
We don't need to go
we don't
too
need
far
to go
into
there.
it, but it has stepped up and it's gotten a lot worse, and it's even more
it's not
fraught.
good.
So, yeah.
But let's first welcome Steve Brown.
Hey, hi,
Hello.
everybody.
We've
Hi,
got
John.
Jeff Hoffman, Senior Vice President of Production Matters. Our friend KG is in Montreal with the Minnesota Wild tonight, so he can't be with us. Michael Dempsey's going to join us next week, I think.
In February, early February.
Early February.
He's traveling right now. He's collecting goodness, kindness stories.
And with us, we have a guest that is in Arizona in 73-degree weather. Oh, good for you. Timothy Mathews. And he is Timothy. He's not Tim or Timmy. And I have a quick story that goes along with
You
that.
skipped my whole introduction of Timothy, but we'll go. You give me your story first.
Do your introduction.
Yeah, I want to introduce him properly.
For starters, Timothy, that music that you heard was produced by Steve Brown, who is a professional musician, which means about 6 times a year he gets paid to do a show at a bar.
Yeah.
But you are a professional.
I guess.
Anyways, back to my story.
Yeah.
So there is a guy who's very active in the fraternal organization I'm a member of. And I didn't know him very well at the time, but he takes a lot of photographs in all these different events.
Okay.
And he's
a good photographer?
He's a great photographer. He chronicles these things. He's everywhere. He goes to a lot of events.
Cool.
I was said, make sure that you thank Terry for the work that he's done.
That's the
Taking
instruction
all the
you
photographs. So, being the great guy that I am, I had the opportunity. I had the mic, and I said, "Hey, by the way, I just want to thank
the mic.
Terry for the work that he did." And all of a sudden, he swings around and looks at me, and I look at the guy that gave me the name, and he's just chuckling.
Oh!
And I go, "Isn't his name Terry?" And I said that into the mic,
And he's looking at you.
and he yells at me, "It's Terrence."
Ooh.
So
You got to be careful.
So from here on out, he is Terry.
I did ask our guest here how to say his name properly, because my wife is a Jennifer. She's not a Jen. She's not a Jenny. She's a Jennifer.
I like
she decided
Jennifer.
in 7th grade that she will be Jennifer. All her cousins and friends, or cousins, call her Jenny, but I've never called her Jenny.
I might
that's
just
nice.
for fun, just to see what kind of a
No,
reaction
she
I
doesn't
can
like
get
it.
out of her.
Sometimes if we're running late, I'll yell up, "Jen, what's going on?" And she'll come over. What? And my kids will laugh.
Oh,
It's good stuff.
funny.
That's fun stuff.
All right.
So the Key and Peele, Timothy, do you remember that at the very end when he refers to himself as Timothy? Anybody see that?
It's solar.
Oh, yeah.
Is that like Socrates?
Yeah.
No,
No, it's like
Socrates.
D Nice
Okay,
and
D Nice and Jake
Aaron.
Quellen.
Okay, so thanks for being patient, Timothy. Today, we're joined by Timothy Mathews. He's an educator, an author, whose work explores how literature and language help us relate more deeply to one another. Timothy believes that words are not just communication, which we agree with this.
Absolutely.
They're invitations to empathy, connection, and shared humanity. That's exactly the kind of insight we celebrate here on the Kindness Chronicles, because stories teach us how to see, feel, and care for others in ways we might otherwise overlook. Timothy Mathews, welcome to the Kindness Chronicles, sir.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Glad to be here.
So in preparation for this, we've been consuming as much Timothy Mathews media that we could possibly get, so podcasts, some YouTube videos, so on and so forth. First of all, tell us, where are you from?
I was born in Connecticut. The age of 8, we moved to Kansas City.
Okay.
I grew up most of my life in Kansas City with the snow and the ice and the horrible winters. Met my wife in Kansas City. We spent 4 or 5 years in New York, just outside of the city near Bear Mountain,
Okay.
just on the other side of the Hudson. And then we moved back to Kansas, and now we're in Arizona.
Jeez, you've been everywhere. It's a globetrotter over there.
We're just moving around.
That's cool.
You get bored after a while.
So it says in your bio that you are a care provider is it at a church?
I'm a care minister with
Care
the Church of
minister.
the Resurrection.
Okay.
And because, well, when COVID occurred, we decided to do a lot of outside global things
Cool.
for the casts of the church. So there's 8 different services, and you can watch all of them online. And so we have members all over the world.
Cool.
And so I'm part of the online care ministry.
What did I call you? A care provider? I've been thinking nursing home all day
Well,
today.
you've been there, yeah.
Apologize.
That's okay.
So I just want to know, like, you found us, and I love that you found us. I want to find out, first of all, how your mission connects with our mission, which is really to highlight and enlighten people about others in Minnesota and elsewhere that are doing kind and
Inspiring
passion,
kindness.
inspiring things, and kindness, inspiring things all around the country. And how are these things connected? How do we connect here?
It could be a little bit of a long road, but
Take it.
I like
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
So, last March in 2024, I lost my miniature schnauzer, Lily Rose. And it was one of the most difficult losses that I've ever had. She chose me when we went to the rescue.
Oh,
So she was my dog.
How long ago was that, Timothy?
When you met her?
We had her for about 11 years.
oh, wow.
Okay.
So she had a really good life with us, but horrible before.
Yeah.
So to commemorate her and her kindness, I wrote a book called The Night Before PAWmas.
Okay.
And I centered it around Christmas time because when we would put our Christmas tree up, she would go underneath it. And
Okay.
if we would move her to set everything up, she'd go back. She was basically our present. every year.
Absolutely.
And because she was so kind and loved everyone, and the Christmas motif fit well with dogs, and we also have a Shih Tzu, so she's still around and with us. So they're both the main characters of the book. The book that I wrote before that, which has yet to be published, is called I Promise, which is her recounting all the different things that we went through in our lives, starting when we actually brought her into the vet for her final moments. And the I promise part is her telling me that I will laugh again, I'll feel good again, I will find that hope that I had with her. And I wrote that just as a memorial for me to help me get through grief, but also in the hopes to get it published so other people could read it and feel like they're not alone. Because for grief, one of the big parts of that is that you feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
No one else can understand what you're going through unless they've gone through it.
Yeah.
And no occurrence of grief for one person or for every people is the same. The grief for my father's loss many years ago, totally different than with Lily.
Mm-hmm.
And it's visceral.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've gone through it and really comprehended and understand it, you understand that there's a relationship that you have to have. And when I help people with my care ministry, I go into that relationship with grief and also with the knowledge of what it was like for losing my father, losing my Lily Rose. And it becomes a connection.
Yeah.
And so I find kindness to be the best way to get into connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I've written a blog on it with an idea of handshakes where you can bring kindness to one single handshake, a person you know. So the three of you gentlemen, you know each other, you're one handshake away from each other. You know enough about each other to even understand and see when there's something going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you have that comprehension. Then you have two handshakes away. So that might be your neighbors or someone you see as you're walking your dog and you know the dog's name, but not their name. You know their face, that type of thing. That's another opportunity to be kind. And it could be something as simple as a smile or a hi or how you doing. Talk to them about the weather, just to get conversation going so they know that they're recognizing they're there. And then you have the 3+. And that might be when you're in the grocery store and you see a big line and you can just stand there in the line, or you can have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So last week I was grocery shopping. I was at Aldi and there was a long line, one cashier, and I had a conversation with people in front of me and behind me. I learned that the Aldi in Germany from these German guys is way bigger, a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
And never would have known that. And grocery stores are great places because you can look at someone's basket and say, "Oh, I've never seen that. What is that? Is that good?" And you have a conversation right there.
I'm with you.
And what I love is, that's a perfect example of, it takes courage to be the person that engages in those conversations or starts those conversations. And I think that that's super important. I would like to go back to when your dog chose you. We have this thing that we call Oxytocin Day. And oxytocin, is the happiness hormone. And we encourage our listeners on Sunday, specifically Sunday before they have to go back to the grind on Monday, to manipulate their algorithms and watch videos that are going to bring them up. And one of the things that I am obsessed with, or I clearly am obsessed with because I get hammered with them, are videos of, people, the reunions with their dogs. And, soldiers coming back and their dogs, going wild and all that
They
stuff.
don't recognize them at first.
Tell
love
us
that.
about the first time that you met Lilly. How did you know Lilly was your dog?
Well, we were at a rescue called Midwest Animal Rescue, or MARC. They're in Missouri, and we were looking at other little Shih Tzus because we have a Shih Tzu, so we were looking at other ones, and we had all these little tiny puppies.
Little Shih Tzus.
Lilly came up and sat in front of me and tapped my leg.
No.
So I gave her a little head rub, and then I went back to the little puppies that were all crawling all over me, and she tapped me again on my leg, gave her another head rub, patted her tummy, and I guess she decided that I needed to give her more attention, so she jumped up on my lap, and she pawed my shoulder, and so I gave her a full head rub, both hands, all up and down the ears, all the way down the body. She landed right up here on the shoulder, and she let out this exhale.
Oh, no.
There we
The
go.
longest puff, and I swear it was her saying, "All my past is gone.
Oh,
This guy's going to take care of me."
That's cool.
And then she almost immediately started snoring like an old man.
what?
She just
Yeah.
melted
She
into
found
your
peace.
shoulder.
Yeah.
He found peace, and it was
Dogs-
just
Dogs know energy.
loudest,
Yeah.
it was a big snore. And
That's so cool.
Laura, my wife, was looking at other dogs. She looked over at me and saw Lilly,
Like, oh boy, here we go.
and then saw my face, and she's like, "Oh, I guess we're done."
That's so cool, Timothy. So two things. One, we have a rescue dog as well. And I often think that dog was lost. It was someone left it. They got rid of it. They said they didn't want it anymore. And it was on Highway 100 wandering around for I don't know how long. When I look at this dog, and it's so happy now, and it's so like it looks at my wife and I at night and looks into our eyes like the heart bubbles are popping above her head.
Oh, my gosh.
It's pretty cool. So I know that feeling, and it's amazing. I didn't want a dog, John. I was like, we've had dogs in the past. I love dogs, but we landed on this dog. It was going to be for my mother-in-law. The whole thing. Anyway, it's a great dog, and dogs like that. She's giving something different. She's so appreciative, and I think, where has this dog been? This poor dog was lost somewhere, and now she's just got a bed. She's got people. She's so happy.
Yep.
It's great. Topic number 2. Going back to what you said about being in the store, this relates to something a little bit bigger. Right now in Minnesota, because of the tension kind of in the air, it's like it was during COVID when you walk into a store. Everyone's a little bit on edge. Would you agree, or is
Totally.
it just in my head? I don't know.
I think
I
they
can kind
are.
of feel it. So
Are you aware of what's going on in Minnesota? Have you watched the news lately?
Oh, absolutely. Our pastor has talked about it, and he actually just did a post on Facebook that linked over to another person's Facebook post. He's from Minnesota, and he has it's a long post, but it has to be long because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Where he has details about different things that we're aware of, some things that I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah.
Things that are going on that in his post, he talked about, the gentleman who was the 17-year-old who was taken away from his job
At Target.
and then dropped off
Yeah.
like a mile down the road at a Walmart, all beat up.
Oh,
Yeah.
None of this makes sense.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So I guess my point, I'm glad that you know about what's going on. I think the world kind of knows this. America for sure knows. But there's a vibe that I'm feeling, and I'm purposely trying to step out of that, and in stores bring a little kindness and compassion, because people are kind of on guard, and they're sort of surprised when somebody's kind or open. So I'm trying. I can sense it and I can feel it. I don't like it because I remember COVID was everyone's really suspicious during COVID times because no one wants to be next to somebody and sick and all these judgments of political leanings and all that. Well, it's kind of still going on. So I think the vibe should be we should be trying to
the kindness.
pull it down a little bit, drop the.
I think the example that Timothy gave about being at Aldi's,
yes,
it is a time to engage with people. It's time to take the courage.
You're just
to
people shopping.
Make those connections. People shopping.
You're just people out there shopping. You're not shopping for people.
Oh, that's what it sounded like. I thought, wait a second, that's a whole different thing.
I would say when you're talking to someone, I was a cultural ambassador for United Health Group, which is the culture group within United Health Group.
We're quite familiar.
We used Sean Delaney's leadership consulting group. He talks about a thing called the mood elevator. So if I come into a conversation and I am grateful and I'm happy and I'm excited, but the people I'm talking to are anxious and defensive, my conversation and my words are not going to hit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because you're not leveled up.
So what do they suggest you do, Timothy? What do you do then?
Well, the way you get into it is you get curious. You ask them questions. You find out about them. It's the only way to get to empathy, which is part of what the Cultural Ambassador Program was, UHC. In order for you to help someone, you have to understand them. And Brene Brown does a great video on it about empathy and sympathy.
Yep.
About when you're empathetic with someone, you're with them. So you could just sit down and say, I don't know what to say because this is such a big, horrible thing, so difficult, but I just want you're not alone. One of the most important things you can tell someone who's going through difficult times, you're not alone. And then the next question would be, what can I do for you?
Love that.
The platinum rule would rule over the golden rule because I might feel a different way. And I might say, well, I need someone to give me a hug, or I might need someone just to leave me alone.
We love the platinum rule around here.
Yep. We mention it often.
We mention it often. Do unto others not as you'd want them to do unto you, but as they want you to. Yeah. Which I think is so important. So it wouldn't be appropriate to say to that person that looks down, what's your problem?
Probably not.
So that's not what we want to do.
That would be incorrect.
That would be incorrect. See, I just like to throw that out there just in case.
It'd be a little, don't be that guy. Jeff, you had a question back there.
Just a couple of connections here. Lily Rose and you must have been in sync with each of your platinum rules, respectively. But then I remember hearing about a story about your mom and making connections with strangers through just a simple license plate. And maybe you could share a little about who your mom was, the license plate, what it all meant, the story behind that.
Wow. Yeah, sure. So when we moved to Kansas, my sisters and I,
how many sisters, by the way? How many sisters?
I have two older sisters.
Okay. Got it. Trying to picture the world here.
We had very few close friends. But as we got into high school and whatnot, we kind of gathered a couple more friends. But what I noticed is every single time one of our friends, my sister's friends or my friends would come over, my mom wouldn't ask them how they're doing. She would ask them if they're hungry. It was, have you eaten? And invariably, she was making something. So we would have pasta sitting somewhere. There'd be lasagna. In Kansas City at the time, there was a place. Oh gosh, I forgot the name of the restaurant. Uh-oh.
Is it barbecue?
No. Well, we love the barbecue.
Good guess,
this place
though.
was different. Yeah. They had pies, and so we would almost always have pie.
Oh,
okay,
pie is my favorite.
It's bugging me that I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but
they're not a sponsor. We don't know.
So our friends would recognize that, and my sister's friends came up with a name for my mom of Murphys, or Mom for Us. And basically our house was a safe place to come.
Yeah.
Cool.
When things weren't working with your mom and dad, you came to our house. And I think it's something that my sisters and I know my sister Amy, who has two girls, my two nieces, she follows the same rules with their friends. It's not even a question. If you come to their house, Amy has something for you. And absolutely no problems. My sister Heather and I don't have kids, so we didn't go that route. But we, Also, my sisters and I learned something from my dad. He traveled a lot. He was a respiratory therapist at KU Med and the president of American Association of Respiratory Therapists.
Oh.
Real long term. He would travel for that. He traveled internationally and also nationally to give talks and meet with different hospitals. He had a rule that if he was in a hotel room having dinner at one of their restaurants and someone was eating alone, he would ask them to meet with them and have dinner together. And he would say,
takes courage. That takes
it
courage.
does.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage. He would say, I know what it's like to eat alone and I don't like it. Would you like to eat with me? We now have international friends because of that.
Wow.
We know people in like New Zealand who he and my dad did work together. My dad did studies for the stuff that he did. And I've been to their house. They've been to our house. It's amazing what being kind can do for you. But like you said, that bravery part, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
And there's a group called Braver Angels.
Yes. Yeah. I heard you talking about that.
Yeah. And I have yet to do this because I'm not brave enough. But you sit down with someone who's on the opposite side of the spectrum.
Yep.
And you just have a
Politically, you mean?
conversation and it's scripted out. So you're not screaming and yelling at each other. You learn about each other.
Sure.
But that first person to say something kind has to be the bravest person because you don't know what the response is going to be. And even if all you're doing is asking questions, trying to learn out why they believe what they believe, it gets heated real quick.
Yeah. I like that. Play on words with better angels too, right? Braver angels. It's cool.
So is Braver Angels like is it an organization or is it just a philosophy? It is an organization.
It's an organization.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be very interesting. I mean, especially in these times.
We need that stuff.
It is no secret that we live in very divided or divisive times. Yeah. And, one of the things that's interesting is when you take the time to truly listen to the other side. And I actually, I sent a messenger message, a Facebook thing to a person that you and I know. And I think actually, Jeff, your brother's Mark.
Right.
Jeff, and I just said, I've noticed that you have, been posting these things on Facebook. And I said, I don't know if I admire your tenacity or question your sanity to take the time to engage in these conversations, but they're all very respectful. Her side is super respectful, but the visceral responses that she gets from some people is just it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't take it. And,
it's brutal.
Her response was, if people listen to what I have to say and it gives them a little bit of empathy for the side of the situation, even if it moves the needle just a little bit. And you know what? I have read her things and have kind of changed my opinion on matters a little bit. And I won't tell you which side I'm on.
It's being curious, like Timothy said, being curious and being brave. Those two things aren't easy in our society.
Yeah.
Because we're so self-involved, first of all, because we're not curious because we're just involved in our own thing. And we're not brave because we don't want to start a whole thing with somebody, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're just people, right?
But Timothy,
Absolutely.
Another thing I heard, if a person wanted to move in that direction, I understand mindfulness is key. Would it make sense to talk about what is mindfulness? I know a little bit about it. Our company, my past company introduced me to it, but tell us from your perspective what it means and why that's necessary if you're going to take an interest in someone else.
One of the things about mindfulness is it's a two-way street. There's self-awareness to know where you are in that current situation and what you're capable of. And I think the even younger generations than us are much more aware of the self portion of that equation because they know what they want. I'm 53. I'll be 54 this year. I don't know what I want anymore.
Funny how that works.
And they also know what they're comfortable with. So they have defined their limits and their areas. And I'm working on doing that for myself. That way you can work more intentionally. And so I can have that mindfulness towards someone else and be aware of the subtle cues that, okay, this person is engaged. This person's coming toward me in a way that looks more aggressive than I want to be. So I have to, I guess, prepare yourself, or, set yourself into a good, safe space. So it's general awareness, but also your self-awareness. There's to me, it goes into the empathy components so much more, because you have to be able to take their idea and their impression of it. We do this with clients sometimes. I'm a trainer, so I create instructional design programs for other companies. And before I can actually create training, I need to understand where they're coming from. What do they need? What solutions need to come? What does it need? What do they want it to look like? So I always ask them, what does success look like to you?
Great question.
And have them define that.
That's where you start.
Yeah, you have to start almost at the end. You don't have a choice. And then you can work back from there. And within the, relationships, you have to do it that way as well. I don't think you can have a very good relationship unless you know who you are, because you just keep shifting to try to meet what that person's expectations are, what you think that person's expectations are, and you're not going to have a very good relationship.
Another concept that you address in some of the things that I've seen is this idea of assuming positive intent. And that's something that I've always told my kids. When you're encountering somebody, always go into it, thinking that what they're doing is meant to be positive. Tell us why you think that's important.
I've seen it.
Sure.
When COVID hit, our office was still open in the place that I was working at the time. And I walked in I had a mask on, I had a face shield on. I was like literally trying to keep people far enough away.
Walking away with a yardstick.
Oh yeah, I would measure it
people.
out. I mean, I had no idea what it was.
No one did.
So I didn't want to be part of that.
Yeah.
My coworker was coughing and sneezing.
Oh boy.
And he had allergies.
Yep.
That's all it was. But I was just like, you need to stay away.
Freaking people out.
I don't know what anything is. I feel very uncomfortable. Right. And we almost got in a yelling match because he just wanted to talk. And I was like, I am me. It's right there. It's safe. So I did that poorly. I didn't assume a positive intent on his part. 3 days later, my church called and they said that they had an available option to help with the COVID vaccine.
Oh.
Hospitals were closed down and they knew there was a huge need, especially in the elderly. Our church is massive. It's the biggest Methodist church in the United States.
Wow.
So we have a lot of property area. I mean, we just have built out this entire area that is pretty much like a big open space that we use for multi-purpose. So we set that up so that the different patients could come in, they could get the shot. They have a respiratory therapist there, they have doctors there, they have pharmacists, they have nurses. And as a care minister, I was helping by just keeping an eye on people, talking to them, encouraging them. If they look like the shot didn't really do well for them, we'd help them, get them to the care of the nurses and the doctors. In that case, every single person that came in was scared. They were, and rightfully so. And so I was able to take that turn and see, okay, let's positive intent. This person's upset. There's a good reason why they're upset. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. In Ted Lasso TV show, he talks about no judgment, be curious.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so that's where you have to approach it in that curiosity type of way.
Isn't it funny? We talk about Ted Lasso often. I wish that there were 6 more seasons of that show because there are so many lessons in that show. It's so amazing how often Ted Lasso comes up in this podcast.
Yeah, it's so based in kindness and compassion.
Yeah. I think I'm on my 10th viewing of it. And he and I actually went to the China Mission West together.
What?
We were, when he says Miss Shipley, the upstairs neighbor?
Yeah.
That was our forensics teacher for speech.
Really?
Wait a
Yeah.
second. Start over again. So, Jason, what's his name? Sudeikis?
Sudeikis?
Yeah, Sudeikis.
Yeah.
So, what was
You went
your
to school with him?
Well, we were in different sessions, different classrooms for the forensics. Forensics is a speech acting type of thing. So
and where was
I did
this? It's in
I'm sorry?
college? In college?
it was high school.
Oh, in high school. So you went to the
Yeah.
same high school as that guy?
Cool. Oh, yeah, he's from Kansas. That's right.
Yeah, he's from Kansas.
I went
That's
to high
right.
school with Steve Brown
Yeah.
over here.
Hey.
Lead singer Johnny Clueless.
Was he pretty funny back then, Jason?
No, he was.
Okay.
He was doing
And
that
he
dance early on, right?
A
He
lot
did.
of the stuff that he talks about is close to real.
That's
But
great.
that's similar to when I write, it's close to real. You have to pull and bring in your life to make it work.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that regarding writing and storytelling. How do you think storytelling, you kind of hit it in the beginning, but how do you think storytelling brings out kindness and compassion in people? What do you think it is about storytelling that does it for you? How do you do that to make it happen?
For me, it's creating the characters is an important component. All the books that I've read about on writing and how to write, you have to start with the characters. And you have to flush them out so you know who they are. In order for me to know who they are, I have to take their persona. And then when you take their persona, you have to understand their likes, their dislikes. And the same thing occurs when you're trying to be friends with someone. You have to understand them.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to put them in situations and consider and contemplate what would occur. That pre-write component makes things very strong and very solid. So, like for instance, in the show Schitt's Creek, David Levy
Yeah.
couldn't write one word. His dad wouldn't let him write one word of the script until he had all the characters figured out.
Really?
And
I don't remember that.
hated his dad for it, but that show is so solid and so deep.
Yeah.
You can
Okay,
watch
I
it
see.
over and over again and get something new out of every time.
I thought you meant on the show. Yes, that's an amazing show, and the characters are so lovable and so endearing, and yet they're crazy people. But you know where they're coming from all the time. You know everyone's perspective.
absolutely.
Oh, and that's why that show is a success because
Yeah.
those characters are fleshed out.
A
and
lot
they're
of humanity
consistent.
was breathed into their characters and the writing. Yeah.
So we could just sit here and talk about TV
Yeah, I
shows.
know.
Now you're talking a language I understand. I don't want to talk about books, by the way.
Now, for the books that I'm writing that have yet to present to anyone, one is pretty close to my heart because it's someone going from Kansas to New York and
Okay.
working in the financial industry. I worked for a year at Smith Barney in Kansas City, Missouri,
Oh boy.
and it was horrible. I'm not a finance person. And that year taught me that I was not finance.
Yeah.
So I took some of the things that occurred there for that year and put it into this book. And then I exaggerated things immensely and turned my main character into a spy.
Cool.
It just drew itself out as it came across. But I pulled in some things from New York, like the farmers markets that they have in some of the little squares and the Tiger Schulman mixed martial arts, which my wife and I were part of.
Cool.
We did a bridal boot camp and lost a ton of weight, and we still have the gloves. We don't fight anymore.
Wow,
But
what an interesting character here.
it was really,
cool.
it was really cool.
Yeah.
And so I try to pull that into my story so it can have some liveliness.
Yeah.
And also it helps me to feel like I'm an expert because
Oh,
I'm talking about part of my life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So back to your book, "'Twas the Night Before PAWmas or PAWmas.
PAWmas.
Mhm.
So the
Pause.
two main characters were your dogs.
Yes.
When you were creating the sort of the backstory for each of those dogs, I assume you went through that process. Is there like a human that you compared them to as you were kind of writing this? I'm just kind of curious as to what you were thinking about. How do you
Embody
are
personify a
they
dog.
informed by some individual that you might know, or we might know?
For me, Daisy Mae and Lily Rose were two specific characters themselves. Lily is the kind one. When we would do small group at my house in Overland Park, she would go around and get head rubs from everybody and then go back to the people she liked the head rubs the most from.
Okay.
Daisy has always had the attitude.
Okay.
So in the book, the illustrator captured those perfectly. You can see Lily Rose is she just wants to sleep, leave me alone type of thing.
Okay.
So almost every single picture of her is her asleep or stretching or getting ready to go to sleep. For Daisy, she's the investigator going after the mouse that got her out of her sleep. And the obsession that she has with packages and also presents in bags. And so that's a storyline within the story of her making sure the presents are not been disturbed. And then she gets into a bag and gets her head caught and comes out with all the stuff in her head.
Oh my God.
And so it's her persona and it's Lily's persona. For Santa Paws, the character that comes and teaches them about empathy and kindness, I think I probably geared that more toward and pulled more from my father than anything else. Because he was always a kind and present person. When he walked into a room, the room changed. He just owned the room. And I had the pleasure of being able to go to some of those conferences that he went to and saw how much sparkle he had there, which is another part of the book, is the sparkle that Santa Paws has. And how different that was when he comes home, and you got to deal with the teenagers. Not quite as sparkly.
Yep.
But you always knew the right and the wrong. And he always made sure that we were always aware of the other people. So
as I'm listening to you tell your story here, you are one lucky guy. You had a mom and a dad that both just checked those boxes. It's no wonder you turned out the way that you did, sincerely. And I do think that that's really important. When you're seeing that, growing up with that, and recognize the reaction that people get from that, you want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
You want to. Why can't I think of the word? I am having trouble.
It's gratitude. Gratitude is the root of happiness.
Emulate. That was the word.
Okay.
I know it's a 4-syllable word. Emulate. No, it's 3. We're not used to those around here. But to talk about a blessed guy, and just how fortunate to have those memories of your dad. Is your mom still with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you get to see her often?
Not as much as I used to. I mean, we're pretty distance apart. She came up here to Arizona, and we went to the Frank Lloyd Wright House.
Oh, cool.
That he created up in here, which is amazing.
Now, you say up here. Is she south of you?
She's in Kansas City.
Oh, is that up?
Almost. We think of it as a cross.
Oh, higher elevation.
Oh,
see what he did there?
Yeah.
Very nice.
There you go.
When we live in Minnesota, everything's
is down
there. Yeah. Yes.
Everything has to be down.
Yes.
I want to go back to family, and my house was the same. My mom was the same kind of person. My mom has been on our podcast. She's a very open and lovable lady. She makes food. She makes a lot of food. She makes good food. She's an Italian lady. And our house was that house too. We'd always say, "Oh, come on, bring them over." Like, who's coming by? Your friends would just, be invited always to eat. And I have that our house was where all my friends kind of hung out. It was a really welcoming place. And that's how I've continued. My wife and I continued our house in the same way. My kids' friends are still in their 20s. They still hang around at our house. They come to our house, and I'm always offering food because I love making food for kids. And I think we kind of talk about that every once in a while. Food is kind of a big topic with our podcast, especially you and KG. But sitting down and talking and having a meal with somebody, like Timothy was saying, it really does. It does something. It changes people. When you can sit down and talk and share a meal, there's something about it. Obviously, his father had met people from around the world, but there's something. What is it?
It's hospitality.
I got a great story. You're gonna love this, and I think you will too, Timothy. So a guy that you and I went to high school with, Tony Schmalzbauer.
Yeah.
Remember Tony? Tony was this great big 6'3", 240-pound hockey player, and he was drafted by the New York Islanders.
Right.
And when he went out for his first year, he got something called a per diem. He didn't know what a per diem was, but every day he had money
for
that he
food every
this
day.
is a true story. Tony is this guy with a heart as big as gold. Probably he'll never win any contest for like ACT scores. He was a bruiser. But when he was there, he used to go and invite homeless people to come and have dinner with him.
Really?
Yep. And he said the stories that he would get, and I don't know if he made that up, but it's, again, I'm not interested whether or not the story is true. I'm motivated by the fact that
I actually could believe it because he was a brave guy.
Sweet guy.
So it took bravery and curiosity. I think that.
I mean,
that
how
makes,
cool is that?
That makes
though?
sense.
And, like your dad, being the traveling salesman or the traveling speaker, making those friends. It's sort of like the Charles Barkley story, the great Charles Barkley story where he met this Asian guy in a bar at an airport.
Yeah.
And this guy had no idea who Charles Barkley was. And they struck up this wonderful friendship. And when that guy passed away, Charles Barkley made sure that he was at the guy's funeral.
Wow.
And nobody ever knew of this lifelong friendship that was created.
It's wild.
And it's just because the guy had the courage to just go up and talk to this guy, not knowing who that Charles Barkley was Charles Barkley. So
you know who has that kind of courage? Michael Dempsey does that. He meets people on airplanes all the time, and he met a really interesting guy that we've tried to get on the show. But he's that kind of guy, and I think Timothy's the same kind of guy. Obviously, that's what it takes, right?
Who are you guys' favorite hockey players?
Our favorite hockey players?
Yeah.
I mean, right now I'm a huge Quinn Hughes fan. The Wild just picked up Quinn Hughes. My favorite hockey player is one of the co-hosts of this podcast who's not with us tonight because he's in covering the Canadians, but Kevin Gorg, state champion goalie for the Burnsville 1985.
Yeah.
And
he's a minor
that's still
celebrity.
the highlight of his life is winning that. And
he works for the Minnesota Wild, so we're get updates on Minnesota
how about
Wild
you?
hockey.
Who's your favorite?
Growing up, it was Jagr.
Okay, Jagr. Yeah.
Jagr. I like watching
You
him.
like this mullet?
My friends were always the Russian Red Line guys. Every single one of them. They loved the heck out of those guys. But Claude Lemieux was always my favorite because he was the one who would come in and get in your head and just get you so annoyed that his team would just start scoring on you.
Yeah,
all you want to do is hit him.
We had a problem with was it Savard, the guy that played for the oh yeah. So while
Don't
we're
look at me
doing
like
this,
I know.
Steve couldn't tell you who the great one is.
Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky.
There. Oh, he got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's about I know. That's all.
By the way, Marcus Foligno got his first hat trick last night, and they said he's had plenty of Gordie Howe hat tricks, which is a goal, an assist, and a 5-minute penalty for a fight. But so where can we find your book? Is your book available somewhere?
It is available on Amazon.
Okay.
I've did just a search, and it also showed up on Barnes & Noble online.
Okay.
The hardback cover's there.
Oh,
if you want the softback,
I saw that
paperback,
today,
if
yeah.
your kids are going to be yanking on it and tearing on it.
Sure.
Get the paperback, and that's on Amazon.
Cool.
I have both. I mean, obviously. And the hardback is it's one of those books where I really hope that when people are putting their Christmas tree up and they're reading The Night Before Christmas, they can read The Night Before PAWmas too. And it can be just a nice tradition of there's magic in our lives and there's kindness. And right now, my current process with the book is to get into brick and mortar stores. That there are some that are 365-day a year Christmas stores.
Oh yeah.
So I'm trying to get into there and boutique stores for dog boutique stores. And then there's places like I'm going to say the name wrong, Slovene, California, that is a Dutch community, and they do Christmas all the time.
Oh, cool.
And so I want to get into those so I can do readings and talk to people about it.
Yeah.
Great idea.
And then the 1,000 other books that are in my head, I want to get I Promise out this year, and hopefully another Christmas type of thing or some other dog related book after that. It'd be really cool. And I've just started a blog about kindness, so that's another thing that I've pushed forward.
There we go.
It's on oh goodness, Substack.
Oh, Substack.
Okay.
Cool. So as a member of the author community like you, Timothy,
John wrote a book.
a fantastic bestseller. It's called Irregardless Ain't a Word. It's a grammar book, But it takes
It's
a
fun.
lot
It's
of
a fun
work.
book.
It's not just the writing of the book, but it's the time that goes into the, back in the day we called it typesetting, but just the layout and the illustrations. And do you illustrate the books yourself?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
No. Valeria Livonia.
Okay.
She's a Ukrainian-born artist who now lives in UK.
Okay.
She did the illustrations for my book. They're incredible.
They look
I'm just
beautiful.
amazed.
Yeah.
I ran into an author who I loved his pictures, and he told me about her.
Oh, cool.
And so then I talked to her, and she took the images in my mind, the pictures I gave her of the girls, and brought it to life.
And your kindness challenge comes out of that book, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's
Tell us about
Let's hear
that. Before
So
we
the kindness
shut her
challenge is
down.
something I did that preceded the book being published,
Okay.
just to get ideas and get people interested and excited. I ran it for 28 days. It's a 28-day calendar where you do something kind for yourself and something kind for someone else. And so it could be something as simple as, treat your brother or your sister nice. Say thank you to your mom when she gives you a treat. For yourself, it's acknowledge that you're a good person. And take the time to write it down on a piece of paper, put it into a jar, and then at the end of the month, read them.
Oh.
Especially those parts that are about you. There's Mel Robbins wrote a book called the High Five, where she gives herself a high five in the mirror every morning.
Yeah. Yep.
Validate who she is.
Yep.
And it's the idea that you are worth all the effort you put into yourself.
And how did
And
that
so-
go over? Like, what was your response? You got a good response from it?
I didn't have anyone follow it. It really annoyed me, but I kept doing it. It's still there. It's available on my website, thehunterbooks.com. So you can jump in and you can do it yourself. I also put a blank calendar. If you think everything I put in there is stupid, you can make your own.
No. So I ask you because we do that. We've been doing that on and off, and it has been a little while. But a kindness challenge after an episode, we put it out there, and we look for some response from people. People respond a little bit, but it's not quite as formal as what you've said. But it's hard. We're really just trying to help remind people. But the engagement is important, and it would be great if we could actually feel that more. So we got to try a little harder.
Are you familiar with 75 Hard?
No.
I've heard of that.
So 75 Hard is
It's a
a
workout
lot of
thing?
it's a workout thing, but it's a wellness thing, and you're supposed to do 45 minutes of indoor workout, 45 minutes outdoor. You got to read 10 pages. You have to be on some sort of a. And I think that what should be incorporated into that is the kindness to yourself. I mean, I think that the idea of writing a little note and just putting it into a jar, and then coming through when you're all done and reading that, I think would be very cathartic for people. Kind of a reminder that self-love, that we have a lot of people on the podcast that talk about just how important but overlooked the concept of self-kindness is.
Yeah.
And, if you're kind to yourself, you're going to be that person that people want to converse with. And we could go on and on about this, but
Oh yeah. Now, here's something I would suggest for you guys.
Please.
Valentine's Day is coming up.
Oh, we know.
So
Keep
go to the
getting
dollar
reminded.
store, go to a craft store, and get a jar.
Yep.
Right. Get some markers. Put some nice stuff on there, around the outside of it, and then take notes about your wife, your spouse, your kids, whichever way you want to go with it, and just affirm them. You're great. You're going to do wonderful. You're awesome. Put it in the jar. And I did that last year for my wife, and she still takes them out. She still puts them up on her computer.
So you do that, and you give it to them as a gift.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like you do it for 30 days or something like that.
Things that you appreciate.
I ran out
about
of paper. I couldn't get any more paper in it. So
That's cool. That's a great idea.
My wife would think I was up to something. She's
and you
like,
probably are.
yeah, I probably are. You buying a new car that I don't know about? One of those things. I'm just throwing it out there as a reality check that as much as I love that idea, she would kind of look at me and go, what's going on here?
Unless you threw it on a $100,000
you know
bar,
what?
you could tape it to that.
That's
and then
very
call it
true.
good.
Very true. Well, Timothy, this has been terrific. We are grateful for the time that you've given us.
Yes.
Again, I think that just it's people like you that that the world needs more of, and I can just tell from talking to you what how fortunate your church must be to have a person like you that cares for people the way that you do, and it's just wonderful.
Well, I'm fortunate to have them. I'm fortunate you guys brought me in and let me talk a while.
I hope
been really nice.
I hope our listeners look for your Night Before PAWmas book on Amazon, and I also will watch for your next book. Tell us when it's coming out, and we can maybe get together again. You can talk about that one.
I promise.
Yeah, well, when that one comes out, I'll definitely keep you guys apprised.
Let's
Right
do
now,
it.
I don't have a publisher yet.
Yeah.
So
Well, we'll
I'm
be
still
watching.
on that part of the hunting.
We'll be watching for
Self-publish,
you.
you make more money that way. That's what we did.
Well, I went through Land and Hail Press,
Okay.
which is a independent small. And Land and Hail Press did a real good job of using templates to get all your ideas. And so you would start off with describe yourself, describe the book, describe your characters, and then you have to put it together.
Okay.
And you have to make it into a paragraph. And I'm like, I can't consolidate. I'll write till the day ends, but consolidating is so hard for me. So they
It's part of
taught
the
me how to
practice.
do that a little better. It helped me out with my instructional design job because now I can form things better in a proper sentence many times.
Well, just so you know, Steve has trouble consolidating his questions too.
That's right.
So we got troubles all around.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks. Enjoy the warm weather in Arizona. We'll be thinking of you there, and maybe we'll see you again.
Yeah.
with
Does
that-
it make you feel better if I told you I'm cold? So I gotta swear around?
No, it would actually piss me off. With that, off we go.
But there's no animal that's more faithful, that's more loyal, more lovable than the mutt. Who saw Old Yeller?
Amen,
There
brother.
we go.
That off we go. Thank you, Timothy.
Awesome. Thank you guys.